Thank you, committee members. I'm going to read a prepared statement first, and then I will add some personal comments to it as well. Chairman Ott, Vice Chairman Larson, members of the committee, thank you very much for allowing me to provide testimony regarding AJR 26, a constitutional amendment which I, as State Treasurer, had drafted earlier this year. As a traditional conservative, I have a great deal of respect for our state's constitution and its lengthy amendment process. Our three-step amendment process, as laid out in Article 3, safeguards our constitutions against flippancy, while giving the people of Wisconsin the tools they need to reform government in the face of a changing world. It is a full appreciation for the amendment process that compels me to offer support for AJR 26 at this time. The elimination of the office of State Treasurer and Secretary of State is a necessary reform whose time has come. These offices no longer serve the same function they once did, and the programs under their purview, while efficiently run, are not given the tools necessary to thrive. The elimination of the office of State Treasurer and Secretary of State is necessary for four reasons. In short, they are as follows. The duties of the State Treasurer and Secretary of State are administrative in nature and need not be supervised by elected political partisans. Number two, dedication of government efficiency demands we transfer programs to agencies that are a good functional fit. Number three, the cost savings associated with the elimination of the office, while not massive, do exist. And I might also add there are opportunity costs, which I will go into later. The elimination of these offices has widespread bipartisan support of the majority of Wisconsinites. These programs administered by the Office of the State Treasurer and Secretary of State are administrative in function. The State Treasurer oversees unclaimed property, which seeks to unite Wisconsinites with misplaced funds. The Secretary of State maintains the acts of the governor and the legislature, keeps and affixes the Great Seal of Wisconsin, and provides authentication and apostils for the documents. These duties do not necessitate an elected official's oversight, and requiring such ensures a system of redundancies. Respect for government efficiency dictates that the programs be placed in agencies that have a similar range of operation. The recent removal of authority over notary, public, and trademark from the Secretary of State office and their subsequent placement with the Department of Financial Institution is an example of the kind of logical transfer to which I am referring. Disbursement of programs for the offices of Treasurer and Secretary of State to appropriate government agencies will enhance the receiving entities and allow for more efficient management. Passage and enactment of AJR 26 would create cost savings by eliminating the redundant elected positions, in addition to allowing the program's new agencies to further streamline operation. Though some may argue that the savings are minimal, I believe that it is an important step towards creating a more responsible and efficient government. Figures from across the political spectrum have shown support for AJR 26. The bill has co-sponsors from both parties, in addition to being a central part of my platform in last fall's election. The idea of eliminating the office of State Treasurer and Secretary of State was a much publicized element of Democratic Mayor Tom Barrett's gubernatorial campaign. In this time of need for the state, it's important for Republicans and Democrats to pursue areas of governmental efficiency and the fiscal health of our state. And success is more likely if work is begun from a common ground. In conclusion, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to discuss my support for AJR 26 as someone who fervently believes in good government. I think it is critical that this amendment pass the legislature and end up in front of the people. Passing the amendment this session is the first step in this process. With regard to my personal remarks, the office was cut in the governor's last budget, and 2 of its agencies were placed in the Department of Administration. I have to say, I was against that idea, and I will explain why. local government investment pool should either go to the State of Wisconsin Investment Board, otherwise known as SWIB, because they handle most of the money anyway, and the municipalities and the school boards and the small towns and the big cities that put their money there, they want immediate responses. They don't want to get, leave a message and we'll call you back. It's their money. If we decide not to put it with SWIB, there's another option. In the state of Indiana, Treasurer Richard Murdoch has a completely privatized LGIP that costs the state of Indiana nothing. And they actually earn about 2 or 3 percentiles higher than what our LGIP was earning at the last count before it left my office. So that's where I believe LGIP should go. It should not go into an agency like the DOA that is so large that the possibility that people will not get the kind of customer service they were used to at the Treasurer's office may happen. With regard to EdVest, I think there is complete synergy between the Department of Public Instruction and EdVest. The Department of Public Instruction has a conduit into every single public school in the state of Wisconsin, and we could begin to promote this program from age 5 and up. Every parent-teacher conference, we could be handing out a brochure for EdVest. This is not an R or a D issue. It's not a liberal or a conservative issue. All of us understand the need for education for our children. And promotion of this is letting people know about it is the most important aspect. When it left my office, the advisory sold portion of EdVest was rated the best in the nation. I'm afraid in an agency the size of the DOA that may not happen. There will be no one promoting it, and it will be harmful toward the future education of our children. We need to put it in an office that has that direct communication with parents. That now dealt with the 2 offices. Hopefully in the next budget we can address those changes. Hopefully they make sense to you. With the office I currently hold, unclaimed property, we have an obligation not only to return property, which I have done at a record pace in the first 6 months. We also have an obligation to find their unclaimed property. It belongs to them. It does not belong to the people that are hanging on to it. Last year, we had 10,000 holder reports. Every business by statute in the state of Wisconsin is required to file a holder report whether they have property or whether they don't. We are not getting full compliance. So here's my suggestion with the final disbursement of unclaimed property. It has always been a very consumer-friendly agency. We give money back to people. We never take it. I think that the Board of Public Lands should be where the division of unclaimed property goes. We have a most competent head of unclaimed property in the form of Mary Salentani. All she needs is a superior that can take roadblocks out of her way so she can do her job. If we wind up hiring a $100,000 a year bureaucrat to take over my $68,000 a year job, that's not good government. Now, on the enforcement end, we could give that to the Department of Revenue because they are in contact with every business that does business in Wisconsin. Every month, sales tax. Once a year, the Department of Revenue could send out a holder reporting form, state the statute, and say, here's your holder reporting form. Please fill this out and return it to us by this date. Now, we do this all the time with businesses, but they see State Treasurer and they kind of toss it. 10 years in business, I never tossed any piece of correspondence I ever got from the Department of Revenue. I have respect for the Department of Revenue, And that should be their only function, to act as the enforcer towards getting the people's money to the unclaimed property fund where we can do, or they can do, their job and get it back to the people of Wisconsin. So those are my feelings on how this office can be broken up in the most reasonable and advantageous fashion possible. And the one final thing that I'd like to say, because it is a long process, missteps could happen along the way. If we fail in this endeavor to eliminate this office, then I think it is incumbent on anyone who believes in good government that we restore back to these offices the powers that they have lost over the years, give them back their relevance, make the people of Wisconsin care about them again, one or the other. At this point in time, I think it's right for the change, but I cannot control the future. That's in the hands of the legislator this year and next year, and in the hand of the voters for the third year. Just, if we fail, and you believe in good government, you have to restore the powers to these positions and make them relevant to our Constitution once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your testimony. Questions from the committee?